today I wanted to hit on a topic, and that is fat loss for females and hormone regulation. So I'm going to dive first into the differences between both male and female metabolism. In regards to how to lose weight, it is the exact same for men and women. You have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight, and that can be via food, cardio, or both. But the thing with females is we were made to have children, and this essentially means that it makes us sometimes harder to lose fat because our bodies don't want to lose that fat. They want to hold on to it just in case we decide to reproduce and we need that body fat in order to have a healthy baby. The basics, of course, we as women have more estrogen and progesterone, and we have less testosterone than a man. And both of these hormones, estrogen and progesterone, they change at different phases of your menstrual cycle. I will put up the menstrual cycle right exact here so you can see what it specifically is. Now, the changes in these hormones are what makes it difficult to see changes in fat loss, and also what makes it difficult to adherence. So we as women typically have a lower resting metabolic rate than men. Leptin drops faster than it does for men. Leptin is the marker of energy balance, so it tells our body whether we are in a caloric deficit, and when leptin drops, it makes fat loss harder to happen, which is why people do refeeds, and my next video will be refeeds, so make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to learn about refeeds and how to implement them. But typically leptin drops faster for women, and the obvious difference is that women have a menstrual cycle and men do not. So the menstrual cycle has two phases, the follicular and the luteal, and the use of energy in between these two phases, as well as the changes in hormones, is what can confuse a woman in regards to fat loss and make it harder for adherence. So the first 1 to 2 weeks is the follicular phase, and this is actually where the body utilizes more carbs for energy than it does in the luteal phase. In the follicular phase, estrogen is higher in regards to hormone levels. And when you go back into the luteal phase, the 3rd and 4th week of the menstrual cycle is the luteal phase, and this is where the body uses more fatty acids for energy. This is also where hunger increases, progesterone increases, and ovulation occurs. A key note is that with ovulation, typically the week before, this is a spike in water retention and cortisol, which causes more water retention. So progesterone is essentially what causes the fluctuations in weight. Estrogen is not the bad hormone, even though it comes out to be. Progesterone is typically what is causing your retention and bloat and all of those crazy symptoms. So the changes in hormones is what causes such a fluctuation and makes it hard for women to see fat loss. In the luteal phase is also where you can be weaker in the gym, and I specifically see that in my own menstrual cycle. I see that I am super weak the week before my drop in my luteal phase. I'm super weak in the gym. I'm more hungry. I'm definitely bloated. So this is where I see that change. It is different for different women. Not everybody sees that decrease in energy and decrease in strength, but in regards to body composition, this is where a lot of coaches need to kind of be able to kind of tell where somebody may need a deload week during their luteal phase of their menstrual cycle, or making sure that if they're doing contest prep, to try and do shows not during that phase, to instead do it during the follicular phase. So the body has 2 major weeks where weight can spike. That is the first week of the follicular phase and the last week, which is the luteal phase. A little note about these hormones, estrogen and progesterone. So estrogen actually increases your insulin sensitivity and decreases your appetite. It also produces better training when estrogen is more dominant in your cycle. So in the follicular phase, the first 2 weeks, meaning progesterone normally increases your appetite and causes decreased insulin sensitivity. In regards to these hormones, men do not have that. Men don't have the change in how our body prefers substrates. They don't have the change in regards to these hormones. Men only have testosterone and little variations of these hormones. So essentially, it makes fat loss harder for women, but I'm not saying that it's not hard for men, because fat loss is hard for anybody. When to start a diet, the best time would be during the follicular phase, when estrogen is more dominant and you don't have increased levels of hunger. If you would go to start the week of your PMS, that would not be good. That would not be the best week to start a diet. And I would probably suggest, if you were first starting a diet, to wait until the next week that you're over your PMS symptoms, your hormones are more at a balanced level, and you can fully give your all and not have hunger spiking like crazy. I do suggest, because we are women, that if you are in fat loss, you really need to make sure, now this is for overall health for men as well, you need to make sure that you have a proper fat intake. I never suggest going under 30 grams of fat. I don't like telling people to go under 35 grams of fat. So fat is essential for hormone production, hormone regulation. So in regards to fat loss, you really want to make sure that you are being careful and you are not messing with your hormones. So if you mess up with your hormones, you are actually making it even harder on your body to lose the weight. So if you are interested in seeing how potentially you could watch for weight loss and kind of make adjustments for seeing those variations in weight, do realize that weight also can fluctuate 1 to 5 pounds on a daily basis. But if you were looking for the pattern of weight changes in regards to the phases of your menstrual cycle, again, you want to look for the first week of the follicular and the last week of the luteal. So 1 and 4. If you see a trend, then you can kind of make those adjustments in regards to changes during months. That's why it can be hard week to week to look for fat loss. It can be frustrating because a woman can say week 1 be at 130 pounds, and then week 2 be at 128, week 3 127, and then week 4 spike all the way up to like 132. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily gained fat and gained weight. It just means that they're gaining body fluid from their menstrual cycle. Their cortisol is going up from stress. And it could also just mean that they needed to poop that day. The weight on the scale does not define who you are. It does not define your worth. So always keep that in mind. The scale is a tool that you can use for progress. All this knowledge that I have gotten from personal research, but I have pulled all this information from Eric Helms and Sigma Nutrition. If you want to check out any podcasts that are awesome, you can check out mine. It's UpliftFit Nutrition, but you can also check out Iraqi Nutrition and Sigma Nutrition, where I got this info. I hope this video shed some light onto a little bit of hormone differences in women and how that can affect fat loss. I hope it helps you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video on refeeds.